Hello and welcome back to episode 14, Tudor Electric Football Box Reveal. I've got a pretty good sized box tonight, and it is something different, something we have not seen on Box Reveal before. I'm going to dump out all this stuff. This huge box has a mailing label on it. It came from Miggle. So what we're going to see tonight are a bunch of China teams, Miggle style China electric football teams. They're all in individual plastic bags. I'm going to just jump right into it. I got no idea if all the teams are even here. I can see these guys have the Miggle style single clip bases. First team we're looking at, these are Redskins, and you can see those solid bases, no holes in the base. These are the Miggle style China figures. There's both running backs, both wide receivers, both quarterbacks. There's a guard, and a tackle. And our first set of the night is a complete set. It is a China Washington Redskin team white uniform with Miggle style single clip bases. Next, we're going to whip right through them. Normally I'm all about Tudor teams. In fact, what I collect are Tudor teams, everything from big men all the way to Hong Kong white shoe teams. But I do occasionally run into these China teams. In fact, we've seen them a couple times when I've done these boxes. All right, there's our next team. That's a set of New York Jets 90s uniforms. Miggle team, again, solid square bases. Interestingly, the quarterbacks are both white figures. So are the running backs. So are the wide receivers. All three guards are African American, and both tackles are African American. So kind of an interesting racial configuration to the team. All right, what we got next? Looks like some Buffalo Bills. You'll actually find this uniform in Tudor, way at the end of the Tudor era. One of the last uniform changes you'll see. Again, we got this same racial configuration. This must be how they did it with the Miggle teams, which is kind of interesting because there's a little bit of an evolution with the original Tudor teams, where you saw more and more figures representing African American players, just like the NFL. And when I was a kid, we used to change what I'd call race changing these figures all the time. So these, like, almost to me represent kind of a step backwards. All right, next we've got Pittsburgh Steelers. These are so cool because they actually came over the years. Collecting these teams, I've picked up a lot of original old 1960s Tudor boxes. This is the first Miggle factory box that I've ever picked up, and I don't really collect the Miggle stuff, and there's a lot about this stuff I don't really 100% understand, because they got into some stuff where they recreated big men figures. They do stuff they call stamped, with stamped helmets with the logos. Most of these guys look like, that's just a painted on Steeler logo there. I noticed that they do have white in the middle of the yellow stripes on the sleeves for these Steelers. Different than anything you saw Tudor-wise. So far, so good, though. We are finding all 11 figures for each one of these teams. And here's our next team. And who are we looking at here? These are Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. Well, this is definitely something we've for sure never seen on an episode of Box Reveal is a Baltimore Raven team. And they're a little hard to see, but they're purple on the top, black on the bottom. Yep, they do have Raven logos. There they are. All 11 guys. First ever set of Baltimore Ravens I've ever had. A team I personally do not care for at all, being a big Cleveland Brown fan. All right, just keep on going. You know, again, these are not normally something I would collect. And here again, we've got a team we've never seen on an episode of Box Reveal. These are Tennessee Titans. All 11 guys, home uniforms. Yep, looking good. Nice team. Kind of shuffling these guys back into bags here as we go. All right, next team we've got. Boy, what are we looking at here? What a weird. Look at the paint job like on the front of this guy. I'm gonna say these are Chargers. That is a crazy looking team. It's weird, they're painted on the front with these stripes, but they're not really visible on the rear of the guy. 2 tackles, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, quarterback, all there. Interesting. Very different. All right. I'm just going to keep whipping through the pile here and let's see what we have. I believe somewhere in here there are actually a couple of, these are white Baltimore Ravens. We've actually got the Ravens in both uniforms. Somewhere in here, I believe there are a couple of original Tudor teams. At least there are supposed to be, so let's hope they're there. And these guys are all there. 11 Baltimore Ravens, white uniforms. Next, looks like we've got Bengals. A little more detail to these uniforms on these Miggle figures, at least as far as like the stripes on the pants go. Like, look at the stripes on those Bengals pants. Rather than just one single stripe, they've got these thick stripes painted on the pants with more detail. Much wider. Not a whole lot of detail as far as the socks go. Like, these Bengals have just one little thin stripe for their sock. And these guys are all there. So there's 11 Cincinnati Bengals white uniforms. All right, next up, we'll just keep on going. We've got these in here. Wow, very dark colored painted dolphins. That is a really dark version of a dolphin paint job there. Again, we've got these Miggle style single clip bases on these guys. And there's the quarterbacks. All right, we've got 11. Interestingly, the Dolphins here have more of, like, again with the racial breakdown of the players, we've got African American and Caucasian wide receivers, tackles, running backs, and even quarterbacks. So I'm glad to see at least that they didn't do this with all of their figures. All right, next, what do we got? We got the Chiefs. Once again, Miggle style Chiefs. There's a guard. There's a wide receiver. There's a tackle. Running back. Got another guard. Quarterback. Another guard. Here's something else I've noticed, at least on these Chiefs anyway. Look how the guys' flesh tones are painted right up to the stripes on the sleeves, kind of reflecting that tighter uniform that players wear today versus the looser uniforms we used to see on players years ago. Next, we've got Broncos. All right, white uniforms. These are the new uniforms. Broncos won a Super Bowl wearing these uniforms. Very generic looking, really. There's just something a little dull looking about these guys in general. But they are all there. 11 Denver Broncos, new uniforms. White jersey. Next, we've got white Patriots. Two quarterbacks. The modern Patriot uniform, the uniform you never would have ever seen during the Tudor era. So, I mean, at least there is that out of this tonight. We're seeing a lot of uniforms that we just never ever would see with original Tudor era teams. There they are, 11 new uniform New England Patriots away uniforms. Let's go to this side of the pile for a minute and see what we have over here. We've got another Miggle team, White Giants. Again, those modern style uniforms. Quarterbacks, running back, guard. We're finding all the guys on all these teams. That's a huge plus. There they are. 11 New York Giants Miggle away uniforms. What do we got next? Cleveland Browns. The home uniform. Weird striping on the socks. They have like two orange stripes with a white stripe painted down the middle of those socks, and I don't think that ever looked like anything the Browns actually wore, but there they are, all 11 figures. Miggle Cleveland Browns home uniforms. Alright, just keep going. Looks like we've got some Oakland Raiders. No, we do not. We've got Carolina Panthers. Alright. Well, you know, the cool thing about this particular box tonight with these Miggle teams is that we're seeing a lot of teams and a lot of uniforms that we absolutely have never seen before and would have never seen on an episode of Box Reveal, because we just don't do the China teams from the Miggle era. But tonight we are. And there they are. That's a nice looking team. All 11 figures. Carolina Panthers. Next up, we've got some 49ers. Once again, Miggle China type team. Uniform very consistent with what you would have seen in the Tudor era. And we've got all 11. Miggle China Dark San Francisco 49ers. Alright, just continuing to whip through the pile here. There's a lot here, by the way. This is a huge lot. There's like 30 plus teams in this thing. Pretty nicely painted. These are Buccaneers with the new uniforms, and there's a really nice emblem on the side of the helmet. So these could be what they call the stamped. I'm not real versed on these Miggle figures. Nice looking team though. All right, good looking set. Miggle Buccaneers, new uniforms. Possibly the stamped version with that logo on the helmet. Next, we've got, and look at the logos on these helmets. Those are, these are Falcons, I guess. These are actually not too shabby looking. They're kind of cool. These are Miggle White Atlanta Falcons. Are they all here? No, they are not all here. We're missing a guy. So, one Falcon shy of a team there. Missing a wide receiver. Oh, no, we are not missing a wide receiver. He stuck it in the bag. Thank goodness. There was no possibility of my ever finding that guy if he didn't turn up out of that. All right, what do we have next? I already tell it's yet another Miggle team, because I see the bases on here, Dark Bears. You know, we actually, on a previous episode of Box Reveal, got the white China Chicago Bears, and now we've got the dark team. With all of this stuff, if I really wanted to start getting into collecting these China teams, I got a really good basis of a little collection going here. There they are, 11 dark Chicago Bears. All right, what do we have next? I will tell you, when I first got back into collecting electric football, like a little bit of my backstory is I started collecting electric football. I'm 52 years old. The first set I bought was an old 610 game that I got at a rummage sale at my school. Came with the Browns and Jets. Those were hog teams. I didn't know that then, but I do know it now. And this time we actually are a man short. Missing a Cardinal. So I collected all of this stuff when I was a kid. I started ordering teams. The first stuff I got were like Haiti black shoe teams, which were gorgeous, made me fall in love with electric football. And then later, Haiti white shoe stuff, and then finally even Hong Kong white shoe stuff. And then later, when I was an adult, maybe like in the, I want to say maybe late 90s, early 2000s, I got back into collecting again, and the first thing I did was get a hold of Tudor Games, and I tried to order all the uniform combinations I was missing from my collection. And when they sent them, what I got, these were Philadelphia Eagles, by the way, nice looking set, well painted, really nicely painted. What I got were a mix of Hong Kong teams, white shoe teams, old stock stuff, and some really crummy looking China stuff, early China stuff. Now here we've got a set of LA Rams. Again, these are Miggle. Let's see if we got all the guys here. And we do 11 China Dark Los Angeles Rams. All right, we're gonna keep going. Oh, and we've got something finally at last. We've got an original Tudor team, and it is a set of black shoe Dark Cowboys, and they've got red peg bases on them. There's the quarterback. Quite a span of years between guys here. We're going back a couple of decades from what we've been looking at so far to look at these Cowboys. There they are. Those are Hong Kong, not hogs. Can tell right away with the pasty skin tones. Black shoe, Dark Cowboys. Next, we've got another China team, and this time it's a set of Dark New Orleans Saints. They used really good gold paint, I'll say that, on these teams. Running backs, quarterback, wide receiver. Looks like they're all going to be here. There they are. Nice looking team. Those are just hand-painted logos on the side of the helmet. Dark New Orleans Saints Miggle home uniforms. And we're going to keep on going. We got a few left. There were over 30 teams in this lot. Now, when you think about how long I've taken doing some of these episodes, we're actually making pretty good time considering the number of teams in this lot. And we are right now looking at a set of China Green Bay Packers road uniforms. Again, they've got those stripes and a pretty well painted, and maybe that's even the stamped business, Packer logo on the side of the helmet on each one of these guys. There they are, all 11 road uniforms, China Green Bay Packers. Next, we've got a set of Detroit Lions. China team. Boy, these look exactly like a Hong Kong white shoe team, except they don't have the holes in the base. Aside from that, they look exactly like what you would expect to find in a Hong Kong white shoe team. What have we got here? Wait, we got 3 tackles, 1 wide receiver. They're actually an irregular team. All right, next up, we've got another Hong Kong black shoe team. Again, it's the Cowboys. So I'm going to say we had a Cowboy fan on our hands here. Broken arm on that guy. Look at this team has both Craig Morton and Roger Staubach. That ought to tell you something about the era of this team right there. And I see a broken guy. And another broken arm. So these guys they've seen some action. And that tackle doesn't have a base. So there are 11 guys. 3 of them have problems. More than that. 1, 2, 3. I see 3 guys with broken arms and another guy broken off his base. So this team is pretty well battered. Hong Kong black shoe Dallas Cowboys. Next, back to Miggle. And these are, now we've already seen Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their new uniforms. Here's Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their old uniforms. The new uniform version was the home team, and we are now looking at the road team of the old uniforms. Orange pants on these guys, which you did not see during the Tudor era. So again, we're getting a look at a uniform that we haven't got to see before. That's kind of cool. Next up, we've got Dallas Cowboys. And do I want to call these the road uniforms or the home uniforms? Look at those nice stars on the helmets. So again, this might be like what they would call a stamped team, where they had those stamped logos on the helmets. That guy does not want to stand up. I'm going to try one more time. Okay, there we go. And they are all there. 11 China Dallas Cowboys. Nice looking team. Very cool with the nice logos on the side of the helmets. All right, working our way down towards the end here. We got about 3-4 more teams left. Next, we've got, look at that funky emblem on the side of the helmet. I'm going to say these are Colts. Weird looking logo on the helmet. There's just something kind of generally generic looking about a lot of these teams. And this is another one of them. They just don't seem to be super duper well painted, yet they made an effort on all of these to paint those pant stripes. And there they are. These are Indianapolis for sure Colts. Road white uniforms. Ordinarily, I would refer to Colts as Baltimore Colts. These are definitely Indianapolis. And next we've got, yeah, it's interesting. We saw Tennessee Titans, and now we're looking at Houston Oilers. A lot of ornate stripes on these guys. You never know. It's so hard to see the logo on the side of these helmets. Maybe these guys are even Tennessee Oilers, because they actually were the Tennessee Oilers for a short period of time before they changed the name to the Titans. All right. Well, whether they are Tennessee Oilers or whether they are Houston Oilers, they are a complete team, all 11 guys. Next, we've got 2 left. We've got Seahawks. And these are obviously before they change to their more modern uniform. There they are, all 11, China, Seattle Seahawks, road white uniforms. And these are the uniforms that we used to see on this team before their uniform changed. And I have to admit, I don't remember what year exactly they changed to that new style uniform. All right, last team, and they are Oakland Raiders. Again, nice logos on those helmets. So I'm going to say these are probably a stamped style team. Guards. Quarterback. There they are, all 11 Oakland Raiders road white uniforms. And we've got one more little bag here, which I'm not even going to open, but there they are, a couple of old quarterbacks, kicker type figures that probably came with the original game that had those black shoe figures. All right. Before we sign off, let's do a little review of what we've seen. Tennessee Titans home uniforms. New York Giants road white uniforms. Pittsburgh Steelers home uniforms. Baltimore Ravens road uniforms. Buffalo Bills home uniforms, red helmets. Jets during the green pant era, road uniforms. Baltimore Ravens home uniforms, the purple on top, black on the bottom. We've also got Eagles home uniforms. Very cool looking set of Carolina Panthers home uniforms. Browns in their home uniforms. Tampa Bay Buccaneers home uniforms, new uniforms. There's those Raiders. Just going to grab a whole handful of them. These really go on forever. There's the Colts road white uniforms. Bears home uniforms. All China teams. These are either Tennessee or Houston Oilers home uniforms. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, old uniforms, orange pants away. Cincinnati Bengals wearing their road white uniforms. Home version of the Chiefs. Miami Dolphins, very dark jersey home uniform team. Denver Broncos, really generic looking team, but road white uniforms. Road white uniforms of the Chargers, that is a really crazy looking team there. That's a nutty looking paint job on those. Seattle Seahawks, road white uniforms. Dallas Cowboys with nice stars on the helmets. I'd call those the home or away uniforms, really. Oh, that's a Giant. We already have the Giants out here. Okay. LA Rams, home uniforms. Look at all these teams. This is why I bought this thing. There was just so much quantity to this thing. Really nicely painted Atlanta Falcons road uniforms. There's those Lions. New England Patriots in their away uniforms. Redskins road uniforms. Packers road uniforms. What did I decide these guys were? You know what? I might have said this team. I'm just going to show you these guys again. I might have said these guys were Ravens. Now I'm looking at this gold on these guys, and I'm starting to realize, you know what? These are Jacksonville Jaguars. I didn't even realize that. Road white uniforms. New Orleans Saints in their home uniforms. Cardinals in their home uniforms. 49ers in their home uniforms. And last but not least, I'll set them up front here because these are really more what I'm about. Home and away, pasty, Tudor black shoe era Dallas Cowboys. Home and away uniforms. What a great box. Look at that. It literally goes on forever. Thank you so much for watching. Please check out my other episodes. It's been a lot of fun doing this. First China box we've ever done. Thank you very much and have a great night.